Wenglish. So I apologise, it's my second language, English. I think this should be the lady with the camera at lunchtime to keep us all warm. So, just to say that the guy who came to the last TUFIS meeting is a guy called John Marsden, who's the head of Active City, who works on behalf of the local authority. I work in the university, and most of my role in the Active City is really to look at the evaluation and the effectiveness of the programs that are running in Active City. So what you get from me today is a little bit of a mixture of some science and some of the structures and organisations that we're trying to put together in Liverpool. Liverpool got Capital Culture in 2008, European Capital Culture, finished last year. And what's really interesting about Liverpool, it was third favourite for Capital Culture. And I know Finland has Capital Culture in 2011, I think, in Turkey. So it was third favourite, and the judges went around Liverpool, went around the cities, and they went to Liverpool, and Liverpool took a big risk. They could have taken the judging group to see Anfield and the Beatles Museum and all that sort of thing, but they actually took the judging panel to a little place, a really place of high deprivation called Garston. And this place had a residents association, the people who live in Garston. They had a meeting. So they took the judging panel to the meeting. And the judging panel commented after they went to that meeting, they heard more about culture in that meeting, more about the real issues about the city, more about the real issues affecting people in Liverpool, about their engagement in arts and culture than they'd seen in any other city. And that swung the voting. So Liverpool, instead of coming third, won the Capital of Culture, and there's been a significant effect on regeneration in Liverpool up to last year anyway. So this is me, and Massimo will present some work as well, so we'll do a bit of a switch around like you guys did, just earlier on, much in the Finglish, Wenglish way, I guess. So, and it's a bit of a long presentation. Just one thing about Active City. The strategy came out in 2005, a result of a national policy from the Department of Health called Choosing Health. And it was much about engaging the community to take responsibility for promoting their own health and not just relying on health services to make them better, to repair them, so to speak. And Liverpool used this statement, let's get active, but one step at a time. This is not a revolution, it's an evolution. Little small steps are important. Small steps are the key issues here. Make little things. And notice this on here, by the way. It's little details that are vital. Little things make big things happen. I didn't put that on there, but it's a good place to have it right now. It fits really nicely with that comment, and shows I'm looking around when other people are talking. Anyway, so just going to visit some of the key parts of the Liverpool Active City strategy in 2005, and then we'll look at some research evidence as we move on, and hopefully we'll get through all this. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but this is the more people more active more often, and the target is to increase activity, the sort of proportion of people who are about 1% per year, and that's those who engage in 30 minutes of activity 3 times a week, and to reach a 5% increase by 2010. It's not working. So this is increase, this small step increase, not a big increase. And then focus that on the hard to reach and on children. Okay, and there's a big focus in the UK on providing youngsters with 2 hours of high quality PE per week and 3 hours of school sport. It's a national initiative. There's been a huge investment of about £10 billion into that initiative across schools. The objectives to increase the profile of activity, that's really key. I think we've heard that this morning. It's key to make sure you engage the key decision makers, the politicians, commerce, voluntary sector, local authority, health, etc. And to really get these guys to work together in a real partnership, not a sort of a partnership on paper, but a real partnership, and I think that does happen in Liverpool. Activities should be enjoyable, and they should be local and easy to get to, easy to access. That was a target. The social environment is really important, as are transport facilities, and trying to recognise that through good housing, because housing is a problem in Liverpool, certainly in terms of Liverpool and the rest of the UK. Training and education are important. We need to invest in the academic achievement of our children and other people, to reinvest and build capacity in and across the city. And this was the bit that when I come in, we must make sure that we demonstrate that some of these programs, because we can't demonstrate that all of them are working, but some of these programs are effective. If we don't do that, we'll be history. We won't maintain our work at all. We'll just be going through a cycle of run a program, it'll finish, there'll be no effectiveness measure, and a new program will replace it, and we won't know where effectiveness actually is. Local targets are driven by national targets, so there's a couple of national policies, the government-wide paper I just spoke about, Game Planning 2002, and in our region it's called Northwest on the Move. How do we activate the region? Liverpool sits in the northwest of England. I've covered some of these before.
Sorry, can you tell us what's the population of Liverpool?
Population of Liverpool was about 429,222. No, 429,000, about that. What about the priority groups? The priority groups are key, of course, because we need to target. So, as we said just now, I think we picked this up in an earlier presentation. We're going to try and target the sedentary people as they have the most to gain, and some of the evidence would tell us that. This year, children, young people and families are a key target. Massimo will speak about black and ethnic minorities, older people, people with disabilities, and in Liverpool, middle-aged men. So those were our priority groups. So where are we now in 2009? Well, first of all, we have very good partnerships. So we're looking at this aim to develop a good series of partnerships across a whole series of sectors across Liverpool. They exist, and I'll show you some of that in a second. Sport England are another key stakeholder. If I say stakeholder, do you know what I mean? It's a partner, an important partner in the delivery of activity. Sorry, this stands for Sport and Physical Activity Alliance. And the management group run physical activity in Liverpool. Evaluation report and something called key performance indicators. How are we measuring what we're doing, and how do we know we're performing well in our activity promotion? So in the Active City, there is a true partnership. There are three key stakeholders, or three key partners, sorry. The Primary Care Trust in Liverpool is basically the Department of Health. They run and promote activity. They promote all health. A Primary Care Trust in the UK is everything except for a hospital. So they run dental services, general practitioners, health in the community, health visitors. They run everything just about except for hospital work. Then there's local government, which involves sport and leisure, education, youth service, and a range of other people. And then there's the university, where I work. And these three groups really do overlap and do meet often, set targets, and discuss our progress.
Sorry, Gareth. This Primary Care Trust. This is not a local governmental entity. It is something different.
It's not a local authority. That's the local government. It's something different. That body are responsible for running the health service, except for the hospital in Liverpool. It's a primary care trust, so it runs everything except the hospital in Liverpool.
And every city in England has a primary care trust?
Every city and group of towns or an area will have a primary care trust.
Okay. In every part of city.
Okay. I guess these are very particular to the UK in some respects, and maybe different in other countries. So what's really interesting from that, though, the Sport and Physical Activity Alliance is chaired jointly by the local authority and the health service. There are joint chairs. It's really important because funding-wise, you're now getting a funding stream from health and a funding stream from your local authority, your typical sport and leisure service. And these are some of the partners. So the group that run play provision in Liverpool sit on that committee. The Walk Cycle for Health, the university sit on it, Sport and Leisure Department. There are local politicians, I think Wolfgang mentioned earlier on, sit on this committee. Transport sit on the committee. The people who represent the older population sit on the committee, youth service, schools and parks. Those are some of the people that actually have an influence over the decision-making, this democratic decision-making around physical activity. So important, I guess, to make sure we action our policies. Policies are only things on paper. strategies are our plans to action those, and then the reality is what actually happens on the ground.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What I'm missing is the people who are building the cities, making the
Architect.
planners, you know?
Yeah, they're
For the environment.
they're in here as well.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, those guys, the built environment guys are in there as well. I didn't include everything on there. There's actually about 26 different groups on there altogether. Since I think John came here last, there's also a website with lots of different ideas for activity on. So each of these are active. You click on Let's Dance, you might find where the dance occurs in the city, and so on and so forth. And I guess many cities would have this. This is a nice one here. It says, "Keep on the grass," whereas in lots of places it's "Keep off the grass," etc. So, and of course, looking at the environment as well in relation to Let's Walk, the benefits of walking, and there'll be some information there. And Liverpool actually has a Walk for Health leader and a Cycle for Health leader as well, who coordinates walking, and the other guy coordinates cycling around the city. Just in relation to the good questions just now, there's in Liverpool, public transport's run by Mersey Travel, but there's a charitable part of Mersey Travel called Travelwise, and Travelwise have a big influence over active travel in the city. And this is their website, and you can see along traffic, goods and public, we've got two buttons, key buttons on this active transport sector, and there's been a big investment in that in the city, including, so you can come to Liverpool, pick up a map, it'll tell you how many calories you might expend on average walking from A to B, also how many steps if you were in the pedometer, so you can map out your walk around the city. Okay, so it's a little bit of a picture, I guess, about where Liverpool is in relation to what it's trying to do. I sort of wanted to sort of maybe share a little bit of evidence with you now, and it relates and picks up some nice things which we talked about this morning in some of the other presentations as well. So the first thing is, where is the evidence? Great, fantastic, all these programs are going really well, or we think they are. The program leaders will say, oh, my program's the best, you know. It's been planned, etc., etc. Where's the evidence? In England in 2005, Sport England commissioned something called an Active People Survey. The Active People Survey was undertaken by a group called Mori Ipsos, and they interviewed 1,000 inhabitants in 360 local authorities across the whole of England. And their clouds report data every 3 years. But Liverpool have requested a more regular and a more detailed, sort of spelling mistake at the end, and a more detailed survey. So there's this national survey of physical activity which are related to key performance indicators. These measures are performing